I guess it depends what you mean by traditional bank. I don't think there's such a thing as a traditional bank anymore. You have retail banks, commercial banks, specialist banks, fintechs, digitals, cross-border global banks. They'll all categorize themselves somehow differently. I guess if in the sense of age, if you think about banks that have been around lending for 50, 100, 200 years, I guess those traditional banks are probably not very well equipped for the transformation to digitalization that kind of the market expects these days. And there's a very good reason for it. They've been around for a long time. They're a result of mergers of technology and data. They've got siloed systems, even siloed buildings and siloed teams that don't talk to each other, that don't collaborate, that don't interact, that don't work out where there's commonality of problems. And this is why it's hard for them to kind of truly digitalize. I think the other part is that you've got people that are resistant to change as well. If you've been in the bank for 20 years, if you're 10 years away from retirement, do you want change? Probably not. I'm quite happy to turn up, do my 9-to-5 job, and keep going, doing what I'm doing, being a specialist in the product or platform that I manage. I don't want something new. I don't want something that's going to drive efficiency. I don't want something that's going to drive me out of a job. So there's a lot of issues that traditional banks have to kind of face with to deal with that sort of change. If you think of what's happened in the last couple of years, everybody expects, or actually demands, things to be quicker and more efficient. And honestly, traditional banks that don't change, that don't kind of follow that wave, I think are going to get left behind, and customers are going to vote with their feet and leave. My father is 75 years old. He's, old. And he expects things to happen quickly. He expects to order something on an app and have it delivered the next day. He doesn't want to wait. I'm the same. My children are the same. It's not a generational thing anymore. It's not, millennials or squashed avocado generation will bank with Monzo or Starling because they get an app, and your father and your grandfather will bank with Co-op and TSB because it's traditional and safe. Everybody across the entire landscape wants efficiency and service and ease of use. And transparency and collaboration. They don't expect clunkiness, which is what, unfortunately, traditional banks tend to have a legacy of. When the COVID pandemic started and the Chancellor launched the bounce back schemes and the CBIL schemes, there was a real rush to make change. And I think what really stood out for me was when you see an inspirational leader that's got authority. One bank that we dealt with had a policy where every loan had to have a wet signature. You can't do that in COVID. You can't, people weren't meeting people. They weren't, everyone was worried. They needed the money quickly to keep the lights on, to keep their staff employed rather than making them redundant. There was worry, there was panic. This leader said, you know what, wet signatures, no, get rid of it. We'll DocuSign. Technology can work. It can make things more efficiently. I don't need that wet signature policy just because that's what we've always done. We can change to make things better. And within 2 weeks, they launched a lending platform that actually, within the first 2 days, processed more loans the entire year, the year before, pre-pandemic. It's amazing what can be done when people just are given the authority to do, and given the guide rails to transform and do things better for customers.